Hi, bitch besties. It's your main bitch, Melly. Thank you so much for tuning in and welcome to another episode of the Judgy Bitch Pod.
Hi, bitch besties. Welcome to a new episode. I'm so excited. I know I'm, as usually, late to the game. This has been months ago. Nobody talks about this anymore. Well, guess what? We are still talking about it because it's still hip. It's still like on the top of our minds. We're still not over it. Today, we're talking about Love is Blind. I have to make sure I'm not saying the wrong show again because I keep referring to it as Love Island. But of course, we're talking about Love is Blind. And I'm so excited that we finally get the chance to chat about all the couples and all the shit what went down in this season. And I'm here with Laura. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited. I love chatting about reality TV show, and Love is Blind is one of my favorite shows. So I am so happy to be here.
Me too. I'm so happy to have you that we finally have a chance to chat about it. I don't know why we're this late. It took us so long to find each other.
I know. And anytime you need Love is Blind, I am always here because I am obsessed with the show and I can watch every season and be happy watching it.
Me too. Do you watch any other countries as well or just the US?
Just the US. How about you?
Same. I tried watching the German one because I am from Germany originally, but I just couldn't bear it. I think I watched one season. I was like, oh, you guys are so lame. I can't. What do you love about Love is Blind?
I love the concept. What about you? I think it's so fascinating. I always wonder, is love blind? I mean, the show's not making us have good confidence that love is blind with all the general success rates of the couples, but obviously there are couples. I just think it's so fun. I think it's great that you get to know each other before you meet each other. I met my husband online before it was trendy 23 years ago, and we got to know each
Wow.
other really well before we met. And I
Ah,
feel like he always says he loved me before he met me because we like spoke so much before we met. And so I think it's kind of like Love is Blind. So I find it fascinating. And I think love can be blind. And I do think a lot of people focus so much on looks in this world. And the most important thing, totally, obviously, to me, is so many other things besides looks. And looks is the least important to me. So I think love is, I'm not insulting my husband here, but I think that that sounded like an insult to my husband. He's very good looking too. But I just think that there's
you're
other
lucky.
characteristics that are much more important to me, and I love to see people, I love to see them mix together in the pods and get to know each other that way. What do you love about it?
Yeah, I love that it's like a human experiment. Like, I just love watching it for the psychology aspect of it. And not that I have a psychology background, I don't whatsoever. But I love, like, for the people who come on genuinely, and that's a big problem that a lot of people come on for clout, right? But the people who come on genuinely and really want to find love, I find it so interesting to watch them in the parts, how they communicate and like how they get to know each other. And, you really question, is love actually blind? And then how they
Uh-huh.
first meet each other, and then how they build or not build a relationship with each other. I find it such a good experiment to see how important communication is in a relationship and
Absolutely.
expectations and like everything it takes to like build a good foundation. And I find it so interesting that we're all like making assumptions very early on. Oh, they're going to work out. They're not going to work out. And then you see it unfold and who actually is going to work out and who doesn't. And then you figure out who's just there for clout and who's just lying through their teeth. And I just,
Yep.
it's all like, I'm sorry to say that, but it's almost like a car accident that you can't look away. Like,
Absolutely. I mean, that's how reality TV show is in general. I'm a huge reality TV show, as I know you are as well. And that's what I feel. It's just, it's mindless. You can't look away. And it's so fascinating to analyze these people. I agree with the psychology degree. I also do not have a psychology degree at all. I sometimes think I do, but I do not.
same,
But I love to, because I've been in therapy so long, I think that I could be a therapist. But
same.
Okay. Uh,
I love
so
it.
I think I'm a therapist and I analyze everyone like that as
Yeah.
well, like you do. And it's so fascinating. And
Yeah.
I just love it. And I think I'm curious because I feel like there's some parts of it. And so I feel like there's a few aspects of it. Like one aspect is the pods, then there's the meeting each other, then
Yeah.
there's the vacation, the meeting the families, and then the I do. So my friends and I always discuss it. And I think I'm in the minority because my favorite part is actually the pods. And a lot of people say they don't love the pods that much because they could be boring and they sometimes focus on people who don't even get to the end. But that's my favorite part. So I was curious, like, what is your favorite part when you're watching the show of those? When do you get excited? Or most people, it's probably the wedding.
That's a really good question. And I agree with your chapters that you created, those sections of the show. I like every one of them. I think the parts are, for me, ramping up, getting to know the people and, being curious who's going to match together and who isn't. And then, of course, the next anxiety hurdle is the first meeting. You want to see how they react, right? I love that part very much too. And I find myself sometimes anxious on my couch. I'm like, oh my God, how are they going to react?
Yeah.
And then the honeymoons or the vacations or whatever, it's also like, are they going to get along? And then the communication comes really into play, right? How do they get to know each other? And are they going to be physical or not physical? Are they going to be awkward with each other? Like every section for me has like its pros and not pros and cons, but like the exciting moments to it that I
Yep.
enjoy very much. So I can't really pick a favorite, to be honest.
Yeah, they're all great and it's so fun. And my heartbeat gets risen many times. Definitely when they're meeting each other. And for every single wedding, I get nervous because I need to know the answer and I don't watch any spoilers ever. And
Same.
I just need to watch and I get really excited about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like you, I like to pick in the beginning also. We could discuss with the couples whether we thought they'd make it or not in the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I'm not usually that good at that game
Yeah.
to play to
Yeah.
see, and that's what's funny because, of course, when it shows that when you're in the pods, you take away the looks aspect and the problems aspect of, outside life. And then when you're
Yeah.
on vacation, you bring back looks, but you don't have the outside
Right.
noise.
Yeah.
And then when you go back home, you're looking at the looks, you're looking at the personalities, the communication, as you said, and then you have all the outside noise as well. So
Yeah.
it's quite
Exactly.
the journey.
Yeah. And that type of show is the core of the Judgy Bitch pod, honestly. Like that's one of the reasons why I named the podcast the Judgy Bitch pod. Because when I watch these kind of shows, I can really let my Judgy Bitch flag fly, Then I
Yeah,
can really have opinions and judge and, while other episodes I did, I'm more empowering the besties with knowledge and we're doing educational things and like everything that really hits us women and, really affects us as women. But the reality TV shows, especially Love is Blind, is one of those really judgy bitch core shows.
love
So
it.
I'm excited to talk to you about this today. I
Yes,
also
me
want to
too.
ask you, what is your favorite couple going into this season 10?
My favorite couple, well, I mean, I you mean like to watch or to that the story ended? You mean like who did I think was the most fun to watch in
Yeah, who were
general?
you rooting for? Who was like your favorite you couldn't wait to come back on screen and you wanted to see?
Well, I'm always like a soft spot for like people who are super sweet. So Vic and Christine, I have to say, they might have been boring, but like they had my heart. Unfortunately, so did Jess and Chris for a while.
Yeah.
But I was rooting for them for a while at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think the couple that I don't know that I couldn't stop watching and they were not meant for each other, but Brie and Devante, for some reason, I just like Brittany and Devante, I was like, I had to watch them and like it was just a train wreck. As you said with reality TV show, that was just a train wreck.
Yeah.
And I needed to watch Brittany and Devo, as they call him, very often to see what would happen because it didn't seem like it was equal. And I just needed to see what would happen, and I wasn't shocked. But I liked watching them a lot. What about
Yeah.
you? Who was your
Absolutely.
favorite?
I couldn't really say I liked a couple so much. I liked certain people.
Me
And
too, yeah.
some of them I was fascinated with, although I did not love them so much. You could tell there's something off. Like Breezy, for example, right? Like I was fascinated with her. I love the way she
Fascinated.
talks and everything. But then at some point I was like getting at the ick a little bit because we're going to talk about them as she came across on TV. And we should say that as a disclaimer. We're judging people on the way they come across on TV. Of course, we don't know any of these personally, so we cannot judge their actual characters. It's just how they are portrayed on TV. We should say that too.
Absolutely. And we're not really judgy bitches. You do not seem like a judgy bitch. And I know you did. We're just judgy bitches towards reality TV, not towards real people, not towards our
Exactly. We're not
friends.
mean girls. We just have opinions.
Exactly. And it's totally allowed 'cause it's a reality TV show. And that's what's fun. Yes.
Absolutely.
So
Was
I
there?
found Brie very fascinating too. She was probably of the people the most fascinating, I would say. Not my favorite, but
Yeah.
definitely most fascinating. And
Yeah.
I'm so curious with that too.
Yeah.
And so that ended in the end, shocked me. All of it. It was great.
Yeah. And obviously you're married and those people are all behind the screen, so you're safe. Was there a guy that really had you drooling a little bit that you think, oh my God, he's so good looking?
Oh my God. I, yeah, but it was Chris. And then, like that's like he was cute and like I'm short and,
Yeah.
like that's my type of looks. But obviously that did not go, you know,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to be with him. But yes, for looks wise, yes. For personality wise, obviously I would want my husband reminds me a little of Vic, and I like that. Like, just super nice and calm and
Yeah.
so nice towards her.
Yeah.
And that's like the personality and type that I think everyone deserves and should have. So he was definitely my favorite how he treated her, but
Yeah.
not looks wise. What about you? What's your type?
Yeah. I was really like drawn towards Connor and Jordan from the
Okay.
early stages on. I don't know. There's something about them that just seemed so nice and sweet. And they're not necessarily the best looking guys, but I'm more drawn towards like personalities and characters. And they seem like such teddy bears, such sweet, humble guys. And I think that drew me to them from early stages on.
Yeah, I like funny guys, and Alex said Jordan's the funniest guy in the
Yeah.
show. Like I could see me liking Jordan. I always like
Yeah.
funny people. So I could see personality wise also being attracted to Jordan. Connor personality, I mean, he was all about Brie through the whole entire show. So I approved of that. And I feel like you obviously have like they both have like darkish hair, like light, you have a type then. But yeah,
I
I
don't
like
really have a type. I've dated all hair colors, and my ex-husband was actually a redhead. So
Oh,
I don't
really?
really have a type. I'm really like more into personalities, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what it should be. That's why I love Love Is Blind, because it should be
Yeah.
all about personalities, and that's
Exactly.
what I think
Yeah.
is the most important. So
Yeah. Shall we dive into the actual season? Shall we talk about the couples?
let's do it.
So very early on in the pods, there was this huge drama about Kaya, Kevin, and Tyler. What was your thoughts about this whole triangle situation, how it all panned out? Share your thoughts with us.
Well, when Tyler almost left, I was like, that is dramatic. So I was like, there goes the drama. So I thought all three of them seemed very immature. He seemed very immature, or just that he had no
Yeah.
idea what to do. He obviously loved both of them in their own ways and didn't want to disappoint anyone.
Yeah.
And he was in a semi hardest position, I guess, but obviously handled it incorrectly.
Yeah.
And the girls, I can't imagine. I think about this a lot, but being in the women's quarters with basically your competition,
Yeah.
like those two girls, they knew it, they lived together. I just can't imagine being in that situation.
That must be so awkward being in the quarters and you see them talking over there and you're over here and they talk about the guy that you're dating and like that must be so weird.
Exactly. I always think that. And in this situation, it was so obvious
Yeah.
that they knew who was who wanted, that there was a triangle. And I was not rooting for either girl with Kevin, because I didn't feel the connection strong with either of them either.
Yeah.
So I wasn't rooting for any of them, and I kind of was happy with the solution that happened, that both girls were, like, basically like, "You're adios."
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he was so immature. I don't know if he came on the show for the wrong reasons or if he was just a people pleaser who didn't know how to make a decision, who's very indecisive and didn't want to hurt either one of them. But I always was like, what's your actual thoughts? Like, what are you thinking? Like, do we even like any of them? Like, what's going
I thought it
on?
was a lot. I like to see the good in people a lot, and that's not so good on reality show because obviously, like, probably more than half are there for clout.
Yeah,
But I did think in his mind, I do think I could tell. I used to be a people pleaser. I'm a recovering people pleaser.
same.
And I could see some characteristics that he was really a people pleaser. And I think
Yeah.
he just really didn't want to hurt either. And I think we also have to think about it, right? It's only a little bit of time that you have to choose your fiance.
Yeah.
So maybe he just really couldn't make this decision because he couldn't decide between the two also, you know?
Yeah. And then each woman showed their strength a little bit. Both of them put their foot down at some point, right? And then they both kind of like came back and continued talking to him. And I was like, why? Did the producers talk them into going back? Or did they decide, I just want to be on the show and go back? Like, what happened there?
I know. And there's some things behind the scenes that I always wonder. And I try to Google things like that and they don't come up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wondered that too. And probably to be on the show. Those girls, him, I think might have been indecisive. Those
Yeah.
girls, Tyler might have wanted some clout when she left. I think that was a dramatic way to get some,
Screen time.
like, yeah.
Yeah. I agree with
So
you.
I don't know if they were really on there for the right reasons, but maybe.
Yeah. But I agree with you. I'm also glad it panned out this way and none of them moved further in the show. And so, and I also
Yeah.
think that he needed to hear that from both women that they're not choosing him. So that I think it's also good for his own development to hear feedback like that.
And I think it was good for the women to choose for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to the next couple, the only couple who actually made it to the end, Christine and Vic. What's your thoughts?
Love them. Love them. Boring, but love them. Every marriage should be like that. I loved how at the reunion, they asked them what annoys them, and he said
The
she has
talk.
too many socks, and she said he plays Angry Birds too much. And you're like, you're in a good marriage if that's your
Right,
problem.
right.
So
Hashtag
I'm
goals.
a big fan of them. Obviously we watch reality show for the drama, and there's not one dramatic thing that ever happened between them. So they didn't
Yeah.
even go to Cabo with the group. So they were not in drama at all.
That was the most
And
dramatic part about them, that they weren't allowed to go with the other couples.
that I had to Google why I
Me
might have missed
too.
it. Yeah,
Did I
but the
miss
producers,
it that
I
they
guess,
don't?
decided that 6 is enough. So they decided to send them to Malibu or whatever. So
But did they
that's
not say that on the show? Did I miss it? Like, I was
I
like,
didn't hear
where
it on
is
the
somewhere
show. We
else?
both watched it twice. Yeah. So you would think we saw it, but I had to Google it. I have ADHD, so sometimes I do miss things. But
Same.
I so I Googled it and they said the producers didn't want more than 6 in Mexico.
The
So that's
budget,
why
I think, was the reason. Yeah.
and then they realized that Vic and Christine, they probably realized they'd have no drama. And in the pods, they only liked each other. So they just went straight on another trip. But TurboTax is giving them another
Sure.
vacation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's exciting. So
Vic
yeah,
also, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I really like them in general. Just boring, and I'm happy for them. And it shows that love can be blind. And I think the show needed another couple like that.
Yeah. But Vic really pulled my heartstrings when he said, I can't see her, but I see her. That was
Yeah,
the quote of the season, I think.
I know. That was great when he said that. And it just shows exactly what love is blind is, as they said on the
Yeah.
reunion, but it's so true. And I love that. And I love them. And I'm very happy for them. And they seem like the perfect couple. Not that there
Me
is a perfect
too.
couple, but we're happy for them.
But their hashtag goals, I agree with you. The only really awkward scene was with her mom, where she was like, oh yeah, he's hot. I'm
He's
like, oh
not.
my God,
I knew you were gonna say
no.
that. That was amazing. I love her mom. I loved her mom and his mom too. It was so cute that when they met at the wedding, so right before the wedding, so cute.
Yeah.
So them
Yeah.
I knew both would say yes from the beginning. It wasn't a question, and I'm glad they said yes.
Yeah. Me too. I'm very glad. And do you follow them on Instagram or anything? Do
I
you?
follow everyone on Instagram. Yeah,
Oh, nice. Fun.
except I'll tell you some I don't follow when we go, but the ones that I like, I follow.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure the next couple, I have questions that you might follow them still. Ashley and Alex.
Okay, yes. So I follow Ashley. I'll admit, Alex, not my favorite guy.
I agree.
I feel like I was so proud at the wedding. I was so happy when Ashley did what she did. But anyway, um, I, yeah, I really liked Ashley and I
I
think
did like
she's so
that.
beautiful.
He is
And
drop dead gorgeous.
I don't like when these guys say, like, she's not my type and they have to hear it back. And he said that many times, and I'm like, she's so pretty, you know? Obviously her dad made him nervous, rightfully
Yeah.
so.
That was
But
awkward too. Like, how would you react if your dad interrogates your boyfriend like that?
I can't even imagine. My dad was the best, then he would never do that. Even though he was a lawyer, he would never do that. But I can't imagine. But I
I
think
I would have died. If I were her, I would have been sitting there, oh my God, Dad, shut up.
absolutely. But yes, I don't know. I found her beautiful and fascinating, and I really like them. I did not. What did you think when they first met? Did you think they were going to end up together?
No, I even got a bad vibe from him in the pods already. I don't know. There was something off with him. And this whole soccer player thing, I was like, you're what? Like,
He was so obsessed with soccer. He kept analogizing this to soccer, and I'm like, "You're not playing a game. It's someone's heart. Like it's not a game."
but he was all over the place, right? Like he was a soccer player and then he wanted to get into trading and finances and like I don't know, and every interview he gave sounded like so rehearsed and made
I
up.
know,
And
and
I don't know.
he never really showed any feelings. Like anytime Ashley asked, he's like, "Yeah, I'm not nervous. I'm okay."
Yeah. And as we said on top of the episode, we're both not psychologists or have a psychology degree, but for me, he was the perfect example of a narcissist. That's how
Well,
they portray themselves, right?
totally. He was such a narcissist. And you could tell early on he was a narcissist.
Yeah.
And I'm glad she figured out he was a narcissist.
Yeah.
And I like what she said about, I liked what he said. She said all about everything. So I'm a big fan.
Yeah. I really like her too. What did you think about the scene with his mom? Like, first of all, the mom is just like, I'm
Like
sorry to
him.
say that. But yeah, she's
She's
like him
like,
and she
I live
probably
in
taught him to
Arizona. And
be this way, right? Like it's when you go to therapy, they're usually asking about the mom first, right? And she was like the perfect example. She was all over the place. He needed to chase her for love, and that probably made him a narcissist. I'm sorry to say that.
so true. Yeah. And she was a nomad as well the whole
Yeah.
time. You know, she's like, I'm in Arizona. And he's like, you are? and but you do have to think about it. That made me so shocked. But they do get their phones taken away for a long time, so they
That's
probably
true.
don't know updates on people. But to not know an update on your mom seems rather wild.
And they seem to have such an awkward relationship with each other. I don't know if it's because the cameras were there, but they didn't seem to have a loving mother-son relationship.
No, not at all.
When
It was
Ashley sat down with the mom and chatted with her, I felt more warmth between these two women. They just met for the first time than the mother and the son.
yeah, it was crazy because he's the least warm human,
Yeah.
and Ashley wasn't super warm, but she was warmer.
Yeah.
I don't think she was as warm as like Jess or some other ones, but she was
Yeah.
pretty warm.
And then obviously she said no at the altar and gave this whole speech that absolutely destroyed him. And I was almost giving her standing ovations from my couch and applauding for her. But I was also wondering in the interviews leading up to the altar, the same day even, or the day before, she was still like, I'm not sure. Was this just an act? Because I feel like this was prepared. This was,
It
planned.
still was. It was definitely planned. She said that day she woke up and she said what she was gonna say to her best friend. I don't know if I believe it. And obviously, the reality show, maybe 1 second, she's like, "I don't know," but, the rest of the time she thought. My one of my parents' best friends was on reality TV show, and they made her seem
Oh, fun.
she said the average Joe, I don't know if you remember that, it's from years ago, but her son was the average Joe, and she was on reality TV, and she said they just figure out some ways to make things up and, so who knows, but yes, I agree that it seems shady that she was so unsure, and then she gave such a sure no at the
Yeah.
altar. I mean, that's about as sure as you could be at the
Yeah.
altar. She wasn't even supposed to speak first, but she's like, "I'm speaking." And did you I felt like there obviously I don't like him, but she was pushing hard on past relationships about
Yeah.
Austin and all of that. And you
Yeah.
could tell psychology that it's from her being hurt. And she said in the pods or past the pods that she was hurt from previous boyfriends. So you
Yeah.
could see the hurt coming out and she was insecure about all of it, but he was lying. So she said he was lying. And I don't know if
Yeah.
she ever 100% proved, like she made the vows so bad,
Yeah.
and I think he kept saying he didn't cheat, like he didn't like cheat or anything, like
Yeah.
that timeline wasn't the same. So I thought that was fascinating how that kept coming up and you could
Yeah.
see she had the insecurities, but she had reasons to have insecurities. And I kept being like, why is he lying? Just say whatever if it's
Yeah.
done. And at
Yeah.
one point, he said he didn't speak to his ex since he got his phone back. So if it's done, just tell the right timeline. It's fine.
Right. I think so too. I think she's her father's daughter. She was trying to catch him in a lie because she probably had the intuition that something is wrong with this whole story. And I think this whole story made her decide early on that she's not going to marry this guy. So I think that's the point when she already made this decision. I don't know if they are contractually binded to go through until the wedding day. Otherwise, they lose whatever money, maybe, or if off camera they still had good dates and good times and she was really torn whether or not to marry him. But from just watching what they showed, I knew when they had that first fight and they brought up sex during period, I knew she was not going to marry him.
That was, yeah. And the fact that he brought it up and the fact that he kept thinking she was going to trap him with a baby. I'm like, you guys
Yeah.
got married a day ago. Calm down. She didn't indicate anything
Yeah.
that she wanted to have a baby right then. So I didn't get that. And
Yeah.
she once rearranged water and he's like, now I feel like I'm walking on eggshells the whole time.
Yeah. But I think that was the breaking point, and I think that's where she made up her mind. And then I don't know why she continued lying, if it was a contract thing or if she wasn't sure because they did still have good moments together. I was questioning that for the rest of the show, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is true. I was questioning that as well. And it probably, maybe when you're that far, you just want to get the wedding dress on, look beautiful. And maybe she really wanted to, maybe she felt so betrayed by him that she wanted to give that vow. I mean, that speech that loud in front of all of his friends and get revenge. And
Maybe.
if she does, you said you were giving a standing ovation. I would totally give a standing ovation. So
I'm glad you're bringing up the wedding dress because that's something else I wonder about, right? I'm from Germany, as I said. Weddings are not such a big deal as here in America, in Germany. Not a lot of people necessarily get even married. But
oh,
here, kids get born, and from their first day on this earth, they dream about their wedding pretty much, right? Especially women, they dream about their dress. So these women on the show, they pick out their dream dress, they plan the dream wedding, they have the dream wedding because also production budget and all that, right? I assume it doesn't come out of their pockets. Why would they waste their dream wedding, their dream dress on somebody they know they're not going to marry? And doesn't that affect their future actual husband? Doesn't he have super cold feet on their wedding day after watching that show?
I would think yes, but I think we could think of it the other way if someone approached us. So say you fell in love with a guy that was on Love is Blind and he walked away from the altar, but because of good reason, and you watched the whole Love is Blind, then he was a good guy. Not that I could give an example from season 10, but say it was like a guy was watching Jess, right? She had class the whole time
Yeah.
and he could watch it, and obviously whatever, they didn't go to the altar, but if she went to the altar and did something like what Ashley did, we'd all give a standing ovation for sure. And I think a guy would obviously easily date Jess after that because
Yeah.
she could go wrong. But yes, I think if it's an interesting thing you say about the wedding dress. I didn't think about that. But yes, you always dream about your wedding dress and then you waste it to say no, and you get your makeup done, you get your hair done, you look like a
Yeah.
bride, and then all for nothing to say no. And especially
Yeah.
if she knew she was going to say no and she was getting her hair and makeup done, because she said for sure that she told her best friend that day what she gave her best friend, like what she was going to say that day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can't imagine at all. But, I think they probably, for the show, I mean, she looks beautiful in the wedding dress. So she probably, and we'll remember that as well. And we'll remember the speech.
Absolutely. I mean, to be honest, she would look beautiful in a potato sack. So,
Yeah, I know. She's so beautiful.
and I
That's
also
what my
wonder,
my mom actually, one thing about this is my mom has a good point about Love is Blind, is they do have always attractive people on this show. Like,
they do.
they
Yeah.
should, it is always attractive people. Obviously, they don't all think they're each other's types, as we've seen,
Right.
especially in this
Yeah.
season, but they are all attractive people, which,
I agree.
yeah. So it's interesting.
That
But
probably
anyway,
gives
yes,
them some comfort too in the pots, knowing that the other one is not Quasimodo over there, you know?
exactly. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I agree.
I also wonder, like in what's her name, Ashley's case, did she tell her family beforehand, don't tell anyone on camera, but I'm not going to go through with this, or do you think she surprised everybody?
She definitely told her dad.
Yeah,
Her dad probably gave her a hard time and was like, "You're not marrying that guy." And she's like, "Don't
right.
worry, I'm not."
Yeah, yeah. But
That would
even
be my
her best friend, like I'm pretty sure she confides in her best friends, and
I hope so, yeah.
yeah. But then let's move on to the next couple because it's interesting. Ashley waited till her wedding day, till the altar, to tell him no. Bree decided to sit Connor down beforehand and tell him we're not going to the altar, which I
Yep.
also have dead respect for because I think that's a very difficult conversation to have and a very difficult decision to make. So I really respected her for that decision. How did you feel about it?
I agreed 100%. You could tell she wasn't 100% sure. She was pretty honest. I
Yeah,
mean, love Bray, as we discussed. Um, so I think it took a lot of guts, and I think she did the absolute right thing. And I think it's so rushed, and it is a decision for life. Well, some people think it's a decision for life. And I think she did the absolute right thing. So I was cheering her on when she did that too. I don't know about a standing ovation there, but I was cheering her on
same.
and happy that she did that. And I loved how much he loved her. So I was happy at the reunion. I don't know if you've obviously since then,
Yeah,
I'm sure you did the research, and they split up, which seemed like it was Connor's decision, which shocked me. So that shocked me, but I was very happy at the reunion, at least when they were together.
yeah. Well, I have
So,
thoughts about that, but continue. Share your thoughts
let's
first.
hear your thoughts about it. I want to hear
I
your thoughts. You were,
At the reunion, they were saying that she wasn't her best self and she couldn't show her best self towards him. And I wonder what her best self looks like because that was my conflict with her. I was fascinated by the way she is articulated and she's a beautiful woman and, the men are drawn to her. And I really liked her for that reason. But I did not like how condescending she was towards Connor all the time. Like it started with the house views and the keg outside his house and the way she talked to her mom about him. And I just did not like this condescending, nagging vibe I got from her all the time. You
yeah,
know?
she did at the reunion, like looking back, or maybe on a podcast. I listened to her in a few podcasts. She said looking back, she realized she was harsh, but they have like a banter going.
Yeah.
And I get that. Not that my husband and I have banter. I just come from a very sarcastic family.
Love it.
So I could see, Christmas tree still being up at Easter. They didn't say it was almost Easter for a while, but like, whenever when they did. But like um I get I could I would maybe say something about that and make fun of it in a sarcastic way and not mean it in a mean way.
Yeah.
But she was condescending at times. I definitely agree with that. And she
Yeah.
admitted she was condescending at times. So you're
Yeah.
definitely right. And maybe it was just too much for him. And I felt like she was definitely the alpha in the relationship
Yes.
and kind of like demanding him in a way,
Yeah.
and I saw that, but he was so loving. It seemed on camera, which obviously we don't know, but it seemed like he was absolutely obsessed with her.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was shocked with the ending, total ending. But maybe he just thought it was too much. And after a while, he just, maybe watching it back too, he was like, oh, seeing it all. Because of course they put it together and
Yeah.
made her condescending very often, where
Yeah.
that's probably all the times that she was condescending out of, you know, all of the tapings. So maybe he
Yeah.
saw it back and was like, oof.
Yeah.
Uh, but who knows?
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, they say it's always better when one partner loves the other one more than the other, you know? So, and there's also this golden retriever versus black cat in relationships thing, and that definitely applied here. But
Hmm.
I think he is such a good guy. He was one of my favorites, as I said earlier, right? I really, really liked him. I think he deserves better. Like he was so obsessed with her and so in love with her, and she just kept putting him down and putting him down. And I don't know if I missed it, but he pretty much confessed his love to her all the time. And she
Yep.
was pretty much like, she didn't say that, but she was pretty much like, yeah, thank you, I know. Instead of like, I love you too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I know. But I think in any relationship, it's hard when someone says, I love you if you don't feel it back. You don't
Yeah.
necessarily. I think she was just being genuine. Yeah, she was condescending at times, but I think she just literally couldn't say like how much she loved him because I think she was unsure if she actually loved him that much. And he just truly loved her. And let's talk, you brought it up quickly, but like, what do we think I'm so curious what the best version is of her, and I wonder if we're talking about it because maybe she couldn't have been as emotional as she wanted to, if that's the best self of
Maybe.
her, and
Yeah.
like let him come into her emotions and her vulnerability and her life. And maybe that was the problem. But I don't know what the best version of herself was. And I'm very curious.
Me too. Me too. And honestly, for me, started the ick with her a little bit in the pods already. Because first of all, I thought he was short in the pods. I don't know. He has like such a short torso that I thought he's a short guy, and he turned out to be tall. So plus points there. But then I got the ick from her a little bit because I felt like she's almost talking him into breaking up with Emma, and I think that's
Yeah.
where my doubts towards her started. I thought she was beautiful, and as I said, very well articulated, and I was really drawn towards her. But there was this other side that gave me a little ick, and the Emma thing definitely was the beginning of it.
Yeah. I know. I felt bad for Emma when at that point, and I feel like we could get into it, but I feel like the the bro code was obviously broken too, but I feel like in in certain ways, the girl code was broken too. And
Yeah.
that's one of them. Obviously, we could get into more with other people, but even Jess at the reunion said the girls weren't there that much for her.
Mhm.
And in that situation, if that was one of my friends, I'd be at her house, that beautiful
Yeah.
house, all the time, making sure she's okay because what happened was horrible to her. So but yes, I think Brie though is like an alpha person who's competitive, and she just needed to get Connor, and and we
Yeah.
saw that side, and she was relentless.
Yeah. And that was a little manipulative there. Um, And obviously, we're going to talk about Chris later, but just from Bree's perspective, how do you feel Bree handled the Chris situation? There was the conversation by the pool on vacation.
Yeah,
Then
a
there was
little.
the bowling alley situation where she lingered a little too long for my taste and chatted with him. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, well, I think she was in a tough place. I think she definitely lingered too long. Talked for too long, and she
Yeah,
even admitted that. But I think she, yeah, definitely spoke too long. And what he was saying, if you're in that situation, he was obviously turning on, like putting, all the moves on her at points. And
yeah,
if you're in a relationship, and he's in you just say no, like get away. At points, I thought she should have just been like, "Get away from me, please. This is making
yeah,
me uncomfortable." And if you're really in a serious relationship, then that's what you do. So, but she wasn't sure, so obviously she shouldn't have been lingering. But I wonder if she was just, so unsure that that's why she took too much time with it.
yeah. I almost feel like her words didn't match her action. Like she said, she is with Connor and she is faithful and she is in love with him and she's not entertaining Chris, but her actions spoke a different story. She was
That's exactly what
entertaining
I'm
him.
saying. Yep.
She was open to his compliments and his flirtations, and she kind of seemed curious about Chris.
She totally did. And I agree. And actions always speak louder than words, I always say.
Yeah,
And I totally agree that it seemed as though she definitely kept saying it's Connor or bust to tell that in her head.
yeah,
But I think she definitely had feelings for Chris. I don't think after watching the show back that anyone's going to have feelings for Chris. But we'll get to Chris when we get to Chris. But
yeah,
yes, so I think she did linger too long, and I think she realizes that, and I think it made, the show people realize that maybe she was just saying what you said, Connor or bust, to make herself feel better.
yeah, yeah. And as I just mentioned, I felt Brie almost talked Connor into breaking up with Emma, and Emma then ended up choosing Mike. How did you feel about Emma's switch towards Mike then?
Yeah, I well, I always think, just with Emma and Mike, I'm gonna just say right away, I did not think they were gonna work out, even in the pods. When you have a kid situation and he really wanted kids and she was not really wanting kids or was unsure, I knew their relationship wasn't going to work out to start.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I felt like Emma was kind of doing it like she was like, okay, Connor, bye. Let me fall in love with Mike so I could get back on the show. Like, and I liked Emma as a
Yeah.
person. But
Yeah.
in that second, I thought maybe she's doing this to continue to be on the show. And she's just like, all right, my second best is fine. So
Yeah.
I liked Emma as a person, and I was rooting for her to find love for sure. But I thought that maybe she was just doing that to stay on the show.
I felt the same way. And obviously, we don't know how many conversations there was between Emma and Mike before that decision was made after Connor dropped her. But I also couldn't help but wonder, do you think Emma and Connor would have made a good couple?
Yes, I do. I really think they do. Um, and I think they would have been a better couple. And I didn't, you said Connor was one of your favorites, and I agree. In the pods, I didn't realize how nice he was
Mhm.
until he came out of the pods. So yes, I think Emma, maybe would have been good with Connor. Yeah.
I think so too, yeah. I actually, Emma and Mike grew on me a little bit as the show progressed. I kind of liked their energy and I liked how open they were in their conversations with each other. I felt like they had really good communication. However, I feel we as a society have a problem accepting when a woman tells you she doesn't want to have children, especially in her younger ages, because everybody always goes like, you'll change your mind. Wait till you meet the right guy, you know? Like nobody believes you when you say what you want. And obviously you're allowed to change your mind, but it's not for you to tell me to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can't even
So
imagine that. And people do say it, and I actually have 3 friends who didn't want kids met the right husband and had kids, actually. Met a husband and had kids, 3 of them. But so sometimes I think it can be convinced. They obviously love their kids and probably will not tell their kids that they never wanted kids. But I
Mhm.
think you can't convince anyone to have kids.
Right.
But I think you shouldn't get engaged to someone in a pod
That
if
part.
you don't know that they for sure want kids. And I
Yeah.
understand. And the whole wedding, I'm jumping here because we're
No,
talking
go ahead.
about kids, but the whole wedding was confusing to me because she said yes, and she said she was professing that she would have kids when she said yes.
Later she
And then
said
he
that.
said
Yeah.
no, right? But like he's like, I wasn't sure if you were confessing. This just seems like a miscommunication,
Hmm.
which is fine, but clearly they're not together now. So it seemed like a miscommunication that maybe they could work past, and the families seem to really jive together, and we're
Yeah.
all talking and so nice about it. And it's like I could see she just doesn't want kids, and he does. So I thought after the wedding, maybe that was just a miscommunication. They would stay together.
They will work it out.
Um, and work it out if she really wanted kids. If she was saying yes, that was me
Yeah.
saying I wanted kids, then there shouldn't be a problem in the relationship.
Yeah.
But they don't seem to be. They're not together now. So
Right.
in my head, I'm just a little confused.
Yeah.
What happened? So
And
that's
and he moved on so quickly. He already had a new girlfriend
yeah.
at the reunion.
I feel like a lot of the guys, you know,
I
they
know.
moved on. The women are
Yeah.
like, I'm in therapy, I'm working on myself, and the guys are like,
Yeah.
I've moved on.
How do you
But
feel about her not wanting kids? Do you think it's just a trauma from all the health issues she went through and being adopted and all that? Or do you think that has other root causes there?
I think yeah, it's probably medical would be my guess. And she said at one point that, it's part of it. And her mom was shocked to hear that. But I feel like, I don't know, some of my friends just really don't want kids for various reasons that have no medical issues. And my 3 kids are my life and my favorite people, but it does change your whole entire
It does. Yeah.
existence when you have kids. And I could see some people love to travel and some people love to do other things. And I have friends that don't even necessarily like, and you said in Germany, people don't get married. Like it's not as big weddings there. Like I have friends that don't even want to get married, don't want to have kids. And I think that's fabulous for them. And I think
Yeah.
everyone should applaud whatever decision you make for yourself. I just think you don't get engaged to someone who doesn't have the same kid interest as you, because
Yeah.
that you're gonna be able to convince someone to have another kid. And I know you can't convince someone to have another kid because I usually could convince my husband of most things. And I always wanted a 4th kid, and I could not convince him to have a 4th kid.
That ain't
So
happened.
not convince someone to have a kid.
Yeah.
So there's that. And I think I would have just been happier if I loved watching them, and I agree. They did have a good dynamic, and they were
Yeah.
very honest about each other with each other.
Yeah.
But I think she might have just done it more for TV, and you know, well, she's maybe like when she first went to him, but maybe she
Yeah.
did actually fall in love with him.
Yeah.
So
I agree with you. And I do want to applaud her. I think she's such a beautiful woman and that she has the guts to come on TV with her arm
yeah,
scars that she had. And she said that caused her so much insecurities. But here she is being such a strong girl, going on TV, rocking this arm, wearing short sleeve most of the time too, and being so confident about that part. I wanted to applaud her for that. I really love that so much, and I want to have a slice of her confidence, to be honest.
me too. Absolutely, yeah, I love that for her, and I
Yeah.
thought she was amazing for that. I totally
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. And with the rest, I totally agree with you. They should have never gotten engaged because they weren't on the same page with the kid thing. But then I also thought that they were going to work it out because they had just had such a good dynamic with each other, as you said. So I agree with you there.
Yeah,
Yeah. I was
like I
bummed
said, it's
when,
hard to get someone to have a kid.
but she seemed so open at the wedding that I
I
thought they
know.
were going to work it out afterwards. But I was bummed when they didn't.
Me too.
Yeah.
Totally.
Let's move on to Chris and Jess. Where do
Okay.
we even start?
Okay. Let's start with how confused everyone was, because I thought for sure they were just as much of a shoo-in as Christine and Vic the first couple of days. They were so in love with each other. They seemed so nice and so cute. And I thought they were shoo-in, and I will not forget this. I was going somewhere and I just saw him say that he didn't think that because didn't work out all the time, he couldn't be with her basically. And my jaw dropped open. And I was like, I have to call someone who's watching Love is Blind and talk to them about this because this is so shocking to me that I need to discuss with someone. And my sister watches Love is Blind and she was up to date on the season. But I was just like, I cannot believe this is happening. It made me so sad.
Yeah. I I feel you on that part. My jaw was on the floor. I could not believe that's happening, and the way he said it and what he said it, I was just like, but I will say I had the ick of this guy from day one. In the pods, he already rubbed me the wrong way because I felt he's such a narcissist. He's already lying to the girls in the pods and manipulating them. But then
Yeah.
he kind of like caught up a little bit when he was dating Jess and they were some cute together at the beginning. And I thought, oh, maybe that works out. But then, him flirting with Bree started and he's showing his true colors. And I was just like, oh, I'm going to throw up.
Yep, that's exactly how I felt. I disliked him so much. He was definitely one of the worst on all of the seasons. And at the reunion, Nick said to him, "You managed to make all the girls hate you and all of the boys hate you," which
Yeah.
nobody has ever done before.
Yeah. Like he must be such, I don't know if there's other personality disorders involved, but he's definitely a narcissist. He does not care about anybody else but himself. And the comments he even made, there was the Pilates comment toward Jess. There was the comment toward like about Connor in the restroom at the bowling alley that he doesn't care. What's he gonna do? Is he gonna beat me up or whatever? Like he was so full of himself and so disgusting. I could not stand this guy. I wanted to throw my TV out of the window.
That's how I felt. And I love Jess. I think, first of all, I think she is so beautiful.
Yes.
And I can't imagine everyone watching a show about me where a guy says that I'm just like, I'm not he's not sexually attractive to me. I think that would break my heart. And obviously, I was so happy for her at the reunion, but
Yes.
my heart was breaking with her until the reunion. And I just love her. She's one of my favorites that ever came from Love is Blind. So,
I agree so much with you. She is amazing. And I mean, she is such a smart, intelligent, beautiful woman. I loved absolutely how gracefully she handled this entire situation. She has this dumb fuck sitting in front of her and she's still so graceful. I would have smacked his face right then and there, to be honest.
me too. Absolutely.
She was amazing and she's stunning. And I don't understand where this Pilates comment comes from because girl is busy. She's a doctor. Like, leave her the fuck alone. She looks amazing. She has a stunning body other girls dream of. Other girls go to the gym 5 days a week and don't look like that. Like, what was he even talking about?
Exactly. She had such a great body. She was so beautiful. She was the total package.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't get over himself. And he was probably my least favorite of Love is Blind
Oh,
for many
100%.
seasons. And he was one of my favorites.
Yeah. But you know what? I wonder. So I kind of saw through him in the pots, as I said, right? I thought he's very manipulative. He must be a narcissist. Me throwing around the word narcissist all the time. But I'm thinking, do you think production casts people like him to have a villain? They always need a villain on every reality
Oh,
TV show.
for sure. And they do. And I think they probably might have saw him. But I think also on reality's TV show with outgoing people, they're probably always going to have a villain anyway because, people on shows like this show their true colors and
Yeah.
there's always villains, I feel like. But they might have he would be a good one to cast to be a villain. But yeah, my jaw dropped. And yes, you're right. In the pods, he wasn't giving the best feeling. But then when he came out of the pod, I was just like, oh, he seems great. So.
Yeah,
He is not.
he's not. And there was another beautiful woman that kind of got played a little bit, and I'm referring to Brittany and Devontae.
Yeah, she was beautiful. Brittany and Devontae, she was so beautiful, so into him, and he just could not.
Sorry, Peanut wanted to say it, and then he changed his mind.
No worries. Yeah, she could not. He could not. Had no feelings for her, and it was very interesting to watch it. As I said, it was one of my favorite couples to watch. I liked her a lot, and I
Yeah.
just felt bad, kind of like a train wreck. But I kept wanting him. I wanted to watch them because I kept wanting him to feel the feelings and say the feelings.
Yeah.
But that never, and I kept thinking it was gonna happen. Like them, I didn't think was definitely a no. And I think because maybe they showed her perspective a lot,
Yeah.
and I didn't necessarily think they were 100% a no. And but then I did think he was never going to speak to her barely again when he said, "I don't want to walk down the aisle." And she's like, "I'm 99% sure we're going to stay together." I'm like,
Yeah.
I think there's obviously miscommunication here. But then we heard him say to the production that she's a shadow, and that's how we knew it was done.
Yeah.
But I yeah, I felt so bad for her, and
Mm,
she is another one that's I think she's so beautiful.
he is.
Um, she, yeah, I thought she was absolutely beautiful. He would not tell her one time that he thought one time he did. He's like, "I think you're" one time he got his emotions out, but he could
Yeah.
not speak.
Yeah.
And I know she told production that she thought that and I was curious your opinion, that once, like, there was a death in the family, that he should have just gone home.
Mm,
And I wonder because I can't, it obviously depends how close he was, but he seemed close. But like, I can't imagine going away on vacation with someone who's supposed to be my new husband right after there was a big loss in my family. So maybe that did make him a little further distance as he was
yeah.
super far distance from
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
So, I wonder that, but yeah, I just felt bad for her, and I did as I said in the beginning, I like to watch them, so I was really hoping in my heart that he would give her the love that she deserves, and he was just not capable.
Yeah. I agree with you. She was one of my favorite women on this season. I loved her so much. She's so cute. I'm like girl fanning over her 100%.
Yeah.
I was definitely rooting for them as a couple because I thought they actually make a good match. I was very surprised when it turned out that he's rich. I did not get this vibe at all.
Yeah, I didn't get that
Um,
vibe at all either.
I did like her family. I liked how beaming she was, and she was so in love with him, and her family seemed so sweet and nice and welcomed him with open arms. But I agree with you on the vacation part where he had a death in the family. I feel like he showed his true colors. He was on the show for clout. Otherwise, there
Yep.
is no explanation why you don't go home when your close family member dies. And that should
Yeah,
have been a major red flag for her, you know?
I have a good question though about Brittany for you. What do you think about her buying her wedding dress before going on the show? Because I know he knew it in the pods apparently, but then he said that was really weird. And I have to admit, she was one of my favorites and I loved her. But I
Yeah.
did think it's a little weird to buy your wedding dress before you get engaged or even meet someone. So I thought that was a little strange myself. And even in the pods when she said it, I was like, that's interesting. That's confident. So it was interesting. And
Yeah.
I'm a superstitious person. I should take a step back. I'm a
Yeah.
very superstitious person. So I would not be buying a wedding dress before I had a ring on my finger. But everyone is different.
Yeah.
And I found that fascinating. So
Yeah. I'm a little indifferent about it, to be honest. I have sometimes I have 20 opinions to one topic, and this is one of those. I agree with you. Superstitious would not allow me to do that. But on the other side, you can also say she's just manifesting it. She's
yeah,
manifesting it into existence. And that's why she bought the dress already. And when she saw it, why not grab it? But on the other hand, I could also say, why does she even go and look for a dress when she's not even in the box yet? So I don't know. I have
exactly.
20 different opinions on it. So I'm a little indifferent.
Got it. Yeah, I that just popped out at me. But everything else about her, not that that's a reason to dislike her, but everything else about her, I mean, I loved her and I just felt bad for her and I was really rooting for them.
Yeah,
And
same.
I can't believe he's engaged now and having a baby.
Baby.
Because I just can't imagine it. And it seems super shady because he's living with Alex in Arizona. And he said the girl, or I researched after, the girl's like not in Arizona. And, he's living with Alex and who knows what's going to happen. So I found him all fascinating.
I was surprised by the bromance, to be honest, because I have such a huge ache from Alex that I can't believe that any guy would even like him as his buddy. Like, why don't guys
Yeah,
have standards?
exactly. Yeah. I mean, I guess, yeah, you're right. I mean, they're not as bad as Chris, but yeah, like yeah,
So,
Alex to me wasn't as bad as Chris, but
yeah,
I wouldn't want to live with Alex either. I agree with you.
no, no, that's not a good sign for Devante that he's friend with such a, I don't know, asshole.
Exactly. Yes.
Let's talk about the last couple we haven't spoken about yet, Amber and Jordan.
Okay. So again, and love kids to death. I did not think it was going to work out from the second that she had a kid. I think it's so hard. And not to say that that's why it didn't work out at all,
Yeah,
but I just had a feeling from the beginning that it wasn't going to work out.
yeah,
But as you said, as we said earlier, I love funny people. I loved him
yeah,
until the end, but I was rooting for them. I just knew it would be difficult with a 7-year-old daughter. And I found it interesting from a psychology perspective, a child psychology perspective, that they didn't introduce Emma until like the end to him.
yeah,
Uh, because if I was a 7-year-old, I'd want to get to know him as much as I can. But sorry, as a mom, I would want my daughter to get to know him as much and make sure my first priority would be that my daughter loved my fiance the most. So I'd
yeah,
want my daughter to have as much time with him as possible. And I was wondering if it was production that said they're not meeting until right before the wedding. And I was curious, but I didn't find it on Google. I don't know the answer to that, but I just found it fascinating. Aw, so cute.
yeah. I want to say hi.
Um, so I just found it fascinating and I was rooting for them really hardcore, but I did not think it was going to work out. And when they said yes, when he said yes at the altar, I still had my doubts. And then obviously at the reunion, we saw that they are not together anymore. And I was
Yeah,
not that shocked.
yeah. I liked him from the beginning. Is like the dad bod with the dad jokes,
Yeah.
the foodie guy. I thought he is such a great guy. I did not like her for him, to be honest. She's a beautiful woman. She has her shit together. She has a kid. She remodeled this whole house. Like, she is a very mature, great woman. However, she came across a little bit like the ice queen, and I did not like that for him. And as we learned later on in the reunion, it seems like she might have anger issues.
Yeah.
And when he was such a gentleman about it and he kept quiet for so long until she kind of like pushed him to say it in the reunion, that they went to this wedding of his friend and she got so shit-faced, and like a complete
Screwed.
different side that we hadn't seen of her on the show. But it kind of like came together like puzzle pieces, and it made sense why it didn't work out. I do agree with you that I found it a little odd that she wouldn't introduce the kid sooner. I guess you could also say she was very protective of her kid, and I don't know how much she's dating, but she doesn't want every week this kid to meet another guy. So I understand that part, right? Um, but yeah, they were engaged, so why not meet him and see how it all works out? But my explanation was just that she just wasn't sure, because she probably knew that she hadn't shown all of her own colors, and she wasn't sure how he's going to react to her colors. And that's why she wanted to protect the daughter, because she needed to reveal herself first.
Yeah. They were Victoria.
And
So
I'm,
yeah, she
uh,
was a nice queen. You were correct. And she was, she, I've, an awkwardness around me, social awkwardness, and she kind of had that too. So I like that about her.
Yeah.
I can't explain it, but just a little bit of social awkwardness. And but yeah, she couldn't let her emotions out, and I agree. She wasn't perfect for him. He needs someone with a personality that could match his because he has a great personality,
Yeah.
and he just seemed a little boring and serious. And I think he needs to be with someone who would match his humor and match his wittiness. Like he was just great, and I would want to have a conversation with him. And he was funny and a great catch. And I think she just couldn't. I don't think she saw. Like I think she saw it, but I think she also was just couldn't tell him like how amazing. Like we didn't see. I don't remember seeing any, of her really opening up to him as much as other people opened up in the show.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And now that we've talked about all the couples, if you could play matchmaker, who would you have matched with each other?
Okay, that's a good question. Of these people,
Yeah.
okay. Well, we said Connor and Emma we would put together because
Yeah.
um, let's see, Ashley. Who we put Ashley? I don't know because I didn't like. Let's see, who are the guys were good? See, like I feel like the good guys were like Vic and Connor, and we already like put them with people.
Right.
So
I kind of
like
would have
Alex,
liked to see Ashley with Devante, for example, to see how they play out.
I know, but I don't know. He kind of pushed me the wrong way just because he couldn't say his emotions. Maybe it's because he wasn't into Britney, but she also said at the reunion, like 2.5 weeks after the showing, he said, like, I still want to be in this relationship. Oh, and what about him going like on vacation with Ashley, Brie, and Pri and going
Oh,
on.
like what the fuck, dude?
And that's girl code broken because she said, why didn't any of you tell me?
Yeah.
And I agree with her.
Yeah.
If they're like, oh, we thought you were like, some of them were like, we thought you were still together. We didn't know you were broken up. So then say, why is your fiance coming with 3 girls to a trip,
Yeah.
So he struck me the wrong way. So
Yeah.
I would want
Good
him with
point.
Ashley because I like Ashley. But that's why I feel like none of the guys, were up to their standards because these were good girls.
Yeah. And I feel like that's like in real life. I did an episode. Did I do an episode? Or I did it on a TikTok maybe. I went to a speed dating hike here in Los Angeles, right? And you had to
That's
pay
fun.
money for it. And I felt the same way. All the girls that showed up were a 10 out of 10. And the boys that showed up were a 4 out of 10. So what do you do? There is no match.
Yeah, you need 10s out of 10s to make 10s out of 10s.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just felt like it was just not there wasn't too many good guys. But
Yeah.
I feel like the girls also they do seem close now. If you watch them on Instagram, some of them seem close, which I'm happy about, but they definitely had some girl code issues as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. We're way over time already, Laura. Is there anything you want to say to wrap up this episode? Anything we haven't mentioned yet? Anything that's burning on your heart that you always wanted to share about this season?
I just want to actually like thank you for having this conversation, and it was one of my
Mhm.
favorite seasons. And thank you so much for having me on. This was so fun. I absolutely loved it. So thank you is what I want to say. But also for the season, I thought it was one of the best. Then I actually really liked watching it, and I loved the show. And I hope more couples come out like Vic and Christine, but with more less boring. And that's what we hope for in Love is Blind.
I love that so much. No, thank you so much for coming out. Would you like people to follow you on social media?
Sure, I am Laura Greenberg Schiller on Facebook and Laura Schiller 257 on Instagram. And my 12-year-olds are trying to teach me how to do TikTok and Snapchat, but I'm not there yet.
That's okay. Thank you so much for coming on, for chatting with me all things Love is Blind. I love this episode so much. Finally, I could let my judgy bitch flag fly.
It was amazing.
I love chatting with you so much. Bitch Besties, thank you so much for listening and watching. Do me a favor, go and follow Laura. And also, if you like this episode, please share it with all your friends and families. And don't forget to follow us at the Judgy Bitch Pod on TikTok and Instagram. And Laura, stay on for one more second. And Bitch Besties, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Bitch Besties, for listening. Make sure to follow us at the Judgy Bitch Pod. And hey, spread the word. Tell your friends, your ex, your dog walker. We'd love the support. Want to be part of the show? DM us your feedback, hot takes, or unapologetic opinions. We just might read them on air. And don't forget to follow, rate, and review the pod. See you next week. Cheers, bitches.